Hi, everyone. So today we're going to look at the golden rules of muscle motion. So let's get started. Okay. Nope. Okay, so you can't really study the skeletal system without studying the muscular system as well. And depending on what A&P course you end up taking in college, they may actually teach them at the same time because the functions of one are necessary for the functions of the other. All right, let's see what's going on. So, golden rules. The only thing that muscles can do is pull. There's no pushing. It's just pulling. And so let's look at this model over here. These two muscles right here, those are the zygomaticus muscles. One's a major and one's a minor. But anyway, you can see that they actually come down and they connect to this muscle that surrounds your mouth. So when these muscles contract, they actually pull your mouth up and you smile. So zygomatic is the smiling muscle, and so it pulls on the lips. This is called the masseter. This is one of the chewing muscles, and so when this contracts, it elevates your jaw. Okay. This is another muscle for chewing called the temporalis, and it just pulls your jaw up. So the question then is, if muscles can only pull, how can you push things? Right? So if you pretend or put your arm someplace where you're pressing against something, so you're pushing on a chair or a door or whatever. When you're doing that, your tricep, okay, in the back of your upper arm is actually pulling on your ulna to extend your arm. So even though you are pushing, your muscles are pulling to create that motion with your bones. All right. So muscles can pull on bones. That's the most obvious one, but they can also pull on your skin or other muscles. For example, up here, if I ask you to wrinkle your brow or your forehead, what you're doing is you're contracting this muscle here, which is the frontalis. Can't remember the name of this one right at your nose, but anyway, so, and in your eyes, this muscle is responsible for squinting and blinking and all that kind of stuff. And so, and you can see that on the surface of your skin. And then there are others that connect to other muscles, which I'm not quite sure whether or not we'll get. Oh, no, we just did one. I'm sorry. Zygomaticus connects to this orbicularis oris right here. So all those examples are just in your face. Okay, so here we go. Now, whoops. What is going on? Well, so I show you this video, not because I encourage you to look like this, but because muscles are, obvious on bodybuilding. So I'm going to play this, but I'm going to turn off the audio. All right, so here's the biceps brachii, and it's connected up here, and it's connected down here. So those are the two. There's actually more than 2 points of attachment, but from this, that's what we can see. There's a connection down here on the radius and the ulna, and then there's a connection up here, actually on the shoulder blade. Okay, so there's 2 points of attachment. The origin stays stationary while the insertion moves. So those are the names of the places where they connect. So for the biceps, this up here is the origin, because you can see that that part of the body is not moving. The insertion is the one that's down here. Okay, so origin and insertion, and the insertion moves towards the origin. All right, I think that's enough of that. Anyway, so during contraction, the insertion moves towards the origin and the muscle gets shorter and broader. And that we just saw in that video. All right. Okay, muscles work in antagonistic pairs. which result in the opposite motion. So just like you can have an antagonist in literature, which is the person working against or opposite of the protagonist. So it's kind of the same definition. But anyway, so they result in opposite motions. And we've done a lot of opposite motions. Flex is, excuse me, is opposite to extend. We have abduction and adduction. We have, why am I forgetting these? I don't know, I'll get to it. Sorry, forgot. Anyway, so the biceps and triceps in your upper arm are probably the ones that people think of most of the time. So when your bicep contracts, the elbow, that hinge joint, flexes, and it brings whatever you're holding up. And now, for the most part, extensor muscles, for example, up here, the triceps, extensor muscles are helped out a lot by gravity. So if you have a dumbbell and you're curling it up, you could actually just sort of let it fall and gravity would straighten out your arm. However, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to lower it in a controlled fashion. And in doing that, you've engaged your tricep. Okay. Yeah. All right, so the quadriceps and hamstrings are, oh, I don't know why that happened, is another example of an antagonistic pair. Extensors do exactly what they say. They extend the knee. The flexors of the hamstring flex the knee. And where they're located, you don't even have to know the name of them or what they do or anything. If you just looked at the muscle and you knew where the origin and the insertion were, you could figure out what motion they result in. Anyway, let's see. Oh, abductors and adductors. So let's take a look at this one. So you know what abduction and adduction are. So here you can see that these abductors, and this, I think this is the gluteus medius, could be the minimus, I don't know, but it's one of your gluteal muscles. And it's connected right here at the top of the femur. So when this shortens, it's pulling on this, the top of the femur here, and the femur is going to move in that direction like that. So it's going to adduct, oh no, I'm sorry, abduct the hip. Again, if your leg is abducted, generally speaking, gravity is going to pull it back down again. But let's say you're swimming and you're doing the breaststroke. Well, the hip abductors help you put your legs out, and then the hip adductors help you bring your legs back in. All right, and didn't want that to happen. Here we go. All right, the next thing is that muscles are proximal to the bones that they move. So in your forearm, you will find all the muscle, well, this is a bit of an exaggeration, but most of the muscles that move your wrist and your fingers and your hand. And if you had a turkey dinner on Thanksgiving and you happen to take a look at the drumstick, you would see all of these hard, kind of yellowish things, assuming it was cooked. And what you're seeing are all the tendons in the arm or the leg, that, as a matter of fact, in the leg of the turkey that would go then to the turkey feet and help move the toes or whatever they call them, talons or something. So anyway, so proximal, closer to the point of attachment of the bones. Well, keep doing that. So muscles in the forearm move wrist, hand, and fingers. Muscles are proximal to the bone they move. The muscles in your calf and in your shin are responsible for moving your ankle and foot and toes. And there's a lot of them. Okay, so here's a question. Where are the muscles that move the humerus, right? So we know that the muscles to move the hand are in the forearm. The muscles in the upper arm are there to move the forearm. So where are the muscles that move the upper arm? Well, they're in the chest and on the back, because these muscles, your pectoralis is one of them, and your latissimus dorsi, if you know, working out your lats, both of these are one of several bones that move the upper arm. So again, there. Now, you don't usually use the word proximal to talk about the torso, but in this case, you kind of have to. All right. I keep doing that. Okay. Number 5, muscle tendons cross at least one joint. Many of the larger muscles cross multiple joints, and we'll get to that. But anyway, so right here, we're having a close-up look at the knee. We can see the patella embedded in this tendon. You don't have to know this, but the upper part of that tendon is called the quadriceps tendon, and the inferior to the patella is called the patella tendon. All right, so they cross the knee joint, so they're in the front of the body. So are they going to be flexors or extensors? Extensors. Okay, so here's another example. The Achilles tendon, you all know about the Achilles tendon. So that crosses the ankle, because here's the ankle joint, right? Here's the tibia, fibula is a little hidden over there, right? And then here's the talus is one of the tarsals, and the calcaneus, which is the heel. So it crosses that joint, meaning the muscles that it's attached to, which is one of my favorite, the gastrocnemius. And we'll talk more about that one too. But anyway, so that shows a tendon crossing a joint. However, these muscles cross multiple joints. So the biceps brachii is connected down here to the ulna and the radius. And both of these proximal connections, these are the origins, actually connect to the scapula. Oops. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. They connect to the scapula, so they cross the shoulder joint as well. So the biceps, yes, it moves the forearm, but it has a role in moving the humerus as well. The biceps femoris crosses the hip joint, right here is their ball and socket, and then it also crosses the knee joint. So not only does it extend your knee, but it also helps flex your hip. And then the gastrocnemius, we talked about a minute ago, allows you to do plantar flexion, but it also helps flex your knee. So we're going to get into this in more detail when we get to muscle building. Okay, so that's that. Here are the rules. And you need to know these. It will make your life so much easier when we start learning muscle names and motions and stuff like that. So that is that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in class.